You can continue, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be your guest lecturer in this presentation that I would like to make on customer relationship management. I've entitled the presentation to be Building Blocks and Challenges in Customer Service for Business Success. My presentation will provide a general overview of customer relationship management, particularly in relation to how it started, the evolution of CRM, what it stands to believe in, and how it links with the traditional organization structure. But considering that I'm presenting it in the context of, I'm presenting it from Africa, Malawi in particular, I also felt it was important to also bring in CRM within the African context so that we can now be able to see what we need to do to adapt to practices of CRM within the context of Africa and also maybe other related developing economies. So let's begin by way of introduction. The whole issue is the markets. You can all agree with me that the world is now going towards markets, marketization, everything else towards private sector. And you can also agree with me, the influence that the technology advancement in the recent years, particularly the last 10 to 15 years, has had on business. Critical to it has been the World Wide Web that has now been able to break the barriers of the traditional geographical market that we all knew. It implies that all the limitations that were available by organizations in reaching customers, but also vis-a-vis customers in reaching organizations have all now been eliminated. Now we have a situation where many customers have the ability to look at products and services being offered by service providers, and they also have the ability to compare and contrast, and then in the process be able to make a choice. Right. So what we have is a situation where customer has multiple choices. Technology through World Wide Web has provided access, but on top of that, technology has also enabled the invention of various machinery that has made the production of goods a little easier than it was probably the past 50 years ago. It implies that you can no longer have a single producer of any good. You'll have multiple producers, so many of them, large and small and medium, all competing on the same marketing space. So the challenge in that context is then the customer power has increased. So the beginning power of a customer is now much more than it used to be. So for such a volatile marketing environment, with such high and heavy competition, with the high intensity of competition, it becomes very difficult for organization to maintain a sizable share of the market that might enable it to be profitable. Hence, customer relationship management has become a solution, the only solution available at the present that can enable companies or any service provider to stand the heat of competition. So all I would say is that the ability to achieve competitive advantage currently entirely rests in the ability of companies and any service provider to do CRM. That's why we are saying, that's why I'm saying that in today's business landscape, nurturing lasting customer relationship is vital for sustained success. It's the only vehicle that can enable the attainment of competitive advantage. Customer relationship management is a strategic necessity, focusing on personalized interaction and top-tier services, especially when you consider that in the day and age that we are in, customers also want tailor-made products or services, and they also want attention. It's a different generation altogether that minds about little details. So it's if there is any time that is very difficult for service providers, producers, companies, or businesses to survive, this is the time. So our my presentation will ensure that the students should be able to analyze the concept and model of customer relationship management. They must also be able to, at the end of the day, understand and appreciate or analyze customer practice of CRM, or provided with an African experience. And then I will delve into the building blocks of CRM and the challenges. So I'll begin by providing a definition. There are several definitions of CRM, customer relationship management, and I'll just talk about a few. Now, if you understand the organization dynamics, you'll agree with me that every organization has basically three levels: the strategic level, the business level, and the operations level. Now, when we bring in customer relationship management, if it is to be appreciated and provide the necessary support needed, or if it is to be appreciated, it also has to cover all those levels. So at a strategic level, we could consider CRM as an approach at a strategy level, strategic approach that aims to manage, analyze customer interaction throughout the customer life cycle, with the goal of improving customer retention, loyalty, ultimately business profitability. In a time when capabilities are standardized, okay, you wouldn't really find a situation where one has an equipment that the other doesn't have. Both have an equipment that is of same nature and produce same products and produce it at the same speed. Okay, then you also have the time where distribution networks are pretty much similar among its different service providers. And then you also have a situation where the number of new entrants in the industry, whatever industry that any business can be in, the new entrants are getting in each time, because as we go in, day out, barriers to entry are being, eliminated. Legal barriers are being watered down each day when the different countries are going towards deregulation. Capital as a barrier is also now being watered down, because now there are so many providers of capital. In the past, there used to be very few service providers of capital, so capital could be an advantage. But currently, capital may also not be an advantage, because there are so many providers of capital. And if you look at it from that angle, you realize that the only thing that matters today is the ability to not only acquire a customer, but to retain the customer. And the critical is now to create the loyalty in the customer's mind, so that the customer must feel obligated to always retain and engage in repeat purchase. So we are saying CRM puts the customer at the core of the processes and practices of the company. So the customer matters more than anything else, because all other things that used to hold one to get an advantage over the other have now been watered down. Now, at a business level, you look at the CRM as a business strategy. Okay, it is a business strategy because it aims to it aims to create an understanding. It makes a company to understand, anticipate, and manage the needs of an organization's current and potential customer. So, therefore, everything else that you do, customer matters. As we said earlier on, the product that you produce, the customer matters. And in the design of that product, you bring in the priority of the customer. You also see that under those circumstances, how you provide that service for the customer to acquire that particular product, the customer also matters. And in this context, if it is a strategy, it implies that then you also become someone who is very proactive in reaching out to a customer and make the customer feel at home and comfortable, so that at the end of the day, you end up fencing the customer. We call it, in strategic management, the best term would be lock in. The whole idea is that once a customer has been acquired and has had an experience with you, then you create that relationship where the customer becomes so loyal to an extent that you lock the customer in. Once a customer is locked in, then you are assured of a sizable market that is sustainable. You may have a customer today, 1,000 customers walk in your shop, or buying your products or working in your hotel or whatever business you are in. And then the next day, the entire 1,000 leaves, or half of them leaves and go to another service provider. You're not any better if such happens, if you've got such kind of high fluctuation. But you'll be better off if you find yourself in a situation that you have a sizable number of customers, say 700, 800, or even 600, who are always there with you 24/7, and who can be with you the entire 12 months of the year. Why am I saying this? Because such are going to be able to enable you to be able to predict your sales, predict your business growth. And say, for example, if you create an average of 20% increase annually in new customers, and then if you reduce the customers leaving with probably another 80 or 90%, it means you will have a stable market size that can ensure sustainability of your business, and in the process you become profitable. That's why we are saying that customer relationship management advocates that you become customer focused, but also you be prepared to adapt, because over a period of time the customer's requirement will change. So the environment in which you are also operating your business will change. So you need to also be flexible and become agile, so that you can now be able to adapt to customer needs as they change. And that can be enabled by your ability to undertake market research to assess customer needs and satisfaction and act in accordance to what you find. So with that kind of background and the definition of customer relationship management, you realize that customer relationship management is at every level. To illustrate that, I'll share with you what I'm considering to be the components of customer relationship management. So you'll see that the components are broken into three: the operational, the collaborative, and analytical. And you will see that if you see these, they are integrated and intertwined in a way that the entire organization from top to the bottom talks the customer relationship management, focuses on customer relationship management. For example, at the collaborative stage, you've got the interaction with customers. For example, you send emails to customers, you write letters to customers, you make phone calls to customers, you engage into interface face-to-face meetings with customers, and whatever form of communication that you may wish to have with customers, something that would not have been there 50 years ago. But that's the only way in which you can be able to create that loyalty that you wish to. And at operational level, you also look at the frontline office operations. For example, the sales team, the marketing, and the services. And then at analytical stage, you now look at your ability now to be able to enhance the relationship with customer, so that it becomes now, in other words, what we call it creating intimacy. Okay, so you are now moving away from the transaction-based approach of dealing with customer to more of a relational approach of dealing with customer, so that it doesn't just become a business transaction, but it becomes a relationship. Now you can all agree with me that there is more to do with a relationship than just a transaction. In a relationship, one thing you must understand is that the relationship is also reciprocal. It implies that the customer also reciprocates what you do to them. You're providing the best service, and they reciprocate it by coming back, because now they are afraid that if they risk dumping you to look for another service provider, they may not be able to get the value for the money that they have after dealing with you. So you realize that to be able to achieve CRM, looking at these components and considering the large size of the market, currently there is a large scale of market. You've got other companies that are global in nature. You've got, various networks of business transactions. And then if you are to create a relationship with such kind of large number of customers, it requires you to now be able to adopt technology. So you'll see that customer relationship management cannot be done without technology. And to illustrate that, I have provided you with this to say, if you're looking at CRM, yes, you look at the components, but if you look at the technological aspect of it, the components of the technological aspect of CRM strategy are as follows. You have applications that you use: sales application, marketing application, customer service and support, campaign management. These are various applications which are customer facing applications. And then you've got the customer touching applications where customers can now use, can search and compare, customized products, technological information, personalized web pages, frequently asked questions, emails, automatic responses, and loyalty programs. These are the operational aspects that of CRM, but intertwined with the technology. And these are all linked to a customer data warehouse. And then you've got now a data mining anchored with the decision support and business intelligence and all up. Now, I will not discuss more on the technological aspect because that can be something for another day. But I would want now to focus on where we are coming from with customer relationship management. Where are we coming from? You'll see that the CRM is something else that spans several decades, at least from the 1970s to the present. But there's been a huge transformation in the last probably 20 years. Yes, in the last 20 years, from at least after 2000. After 2000, there's been an evolution, because at that time, that's when you've got a lot of automations, including, and this has also helped companies as they make decisions to also be able to use the artificial intelligence and other mathematical models, on how to model their business in line with customer expectation to provide high customer experience, a memorable one. So you see from the 1970, yes, it was more of a startup. They're thinking that we need to create some records for customers so that we know who are our customers, what are their addresses, so that we can contact them at the most basic level in the 70s. That's what you'll find. And then you see that around 1980, there was some, improvements, emergency contact management, 1990s, introduction of automation. But the 1990s to early 2000, there was an evolution. Now, customer relationship management became the center of everything. You could not design any strategy for the organization without bringing in customer relationship management. But if you look at it from the theoretical perspective, you'll see that customer relationship management dwells on or is underpinned by relationship marketing theory and also social exchange theory. Now, customer relationship management ought to operate in a model. So the model of customer relationship management is where has got the following steps. They are the following steps of the customer relationship model up to step 5. Of course, this is not the only model. You will find different authors who provide you various models and approaches, but I have chosen this one because I think it's one that befits well with the presentation, where you will have to be able to design a model through which your CRM strategy is going to be implemented. So you've got you have to construct a database, step 2 analysis, step 3 customer selection, step 4 customer targeting, and step 5 implement relationship marketing and management with the following philosophy. These are the beliefs. You're doing all these things with the following beliefs: one-to-one relationship with customer and a seller. Now, this is regardless of how many customers you have. Treat different customers differently. But one thing that I had not mentioned earlier on, which I want to mention now and which I'll focus on, is that, as I said earlier on, you target customers, and within those targets, you also identify profitable customers to maximize their lifetime. You must understand that the energy to deal with customers on the personalized arrangement and with tailor-made, solutions to their problems would require investment on your part. Therefore, as a business person, you definitely will need returns. Therefore, for you to be able to sustain your CRM, you also need to only have high concentration of profitable customers. because then the CRM will be within the following category of activities, where you engage in selecting a customer. In this case, you target the profitable one, the one that has value, because the one that has value is going to be able to give you the returns and then profit that you need. Secondly, you acquire that customer that you target using the right channels, and then you make sure that you retain that customer. Now, the retention component is actually the major focus of CRM. Prior to CRM's emphasis, perhaps the focus was on selecting and acquiring, and then you wouldn't mind what happens later on. But at this particular point, you realize that if you just select and acquire, once you engage into a transaction and the next day it doesn't happen, then it becomes a problem. So you retain for repeat purchasing using right channels. You want to maximize service quality. Then, when the customer has been retained and has developed the loyalty component, you extend. Okay? In other words, it implies that that particular customer becomes also your ambassador. You agree with me that having reached this far, you'll be able to save costs. You'll be able to change the dissatisfied customer and make them satisfied. And you also be able to increase retention rate. That will be to your advantage. So your entire marketing budget will be slowed down. And this cannot be illustrated in this diagram, where we're saying if you come up with a good CRM strategy, you have to practice it. And in practicing CRM strategy, you have to divide your customers into high value, repeat customers, low value, repeat customers. Now you see that, yes, we have acquired them, you provide support, and you have segmented them into these categories, then you target them accordingly. It implies that your CRM efforts are also going to be aligned to what we'll refer to as the segment that you're in. For example, high value customer, repeat customers will be treated in a way differently to low value repeat customers, regardless of the fact that all of them will get customer experience, good customer experience, but you'll put in more effort in high value because you want to maintain them. They have to be loyal all the time. It becomes very important for you to have such kind of an arrangement, which can be illustrated in this order. Some sort of a pyramid where you're looking at high value customers. Mostly, if you look at the 80-20 principle, they would likely be the 20% of your customer base, but that 20% will be the one that gives you 80% returns. Actually, your survival as a business, so purely based, not maybe survival, but your ability to achieve competitive advantage, your profitability is going to be purely based on the 20% of that customer segment that is highly profitable, but that which you also spend a lot of energy to satisfy. Yeah, as you can see here, the highest profitability is on the 20%, with the lowest profitability being on the 80%. And at the bottom, these are the customers now that you have to be very careful with, because at the bottom, those that give you the lowest profitability, in as much as you take care of them, but you must understand that they might also be difficult to do business with. And they will cost you a lot of time and effort. In return, you may not also be able to get your money back. So it requires that you become so wise in how you deal with the customers. You deal with them wisely. You remember, you're in business. You want returns. You want profit. And as you encounter these customers, you can use any of the various touch points that are available. You can use smartphones, World Wide Web, and they can also get in touch with you through the same. That's why I said it's a reciprocal arrangement. Computer, they can come in physical. Your salespeople can go and meet them, field visits, direct mail, emails, service centers, call centers. These are various touch points that you can use. But you agree with me that however you do it, you also put into consideration the 80-20 principle, because you want to be profitable. I'll tell you that companies that follow these principles will even survive during turbulent time. Remember that we recently, the past 2 years, probably 3 years, 2019, 2020, probably 2020 was the worst, with the spillover in 2021. The whole business community was hit badly by the global pandemic of COVID, which had required that a lot of business activities be disrupted. I'll tell you, even in such disruption, your company is likely going to bounce back on the market if it has a dedicated 20% of customers who are loyal, who, despite the hard times as such as that of COVID, will still engage in return purchases. They'll still come back and do business with you and sustain you and make you survive even in turbulent times. And when you bounce back, for example, after the pandemic pressure was now gone and then business came into normal, it implies that the 20% that is loyal, that you have retained, is the one that is going to help you turn around and become profitable again. You might not also then do not need to now start engaging in the full campaign of acquiring new customers, because you already have a base that you are sitting on, which forms the foundation for your business. So, having looked at the theoretical component of CRM, how CRM should be, what it is and how it should be, let's look at how it should be implemented. Implementing CRM is also another challenge. And this is where now I will focus on, particularly in relation to our African experience. In implementing CRM, you need to integrate it with your organization structure. So the integration of CRM strategy and organizational structure would result in changing the structure altogether. Because in most cases, the traditional structure minus CRM does not in itself automatically accommodate CRM, implying that if you are to accommodate CRM, then the structure must be realigned. Maybe in simple terms, I would say you need to restructure your organization. You align it with CRM strategy. You want your structure to be able to adapt to existing processes and some department that might come that were not previously there in the traditional organization. Department that might come to ensure that CRM strategy works. For example, in this case, would say you must be able to assess your needs as an organization and then say, okay, so what do we need to change if we are to implement CRM? Okay, and then you realize that sometimes changing the structure may not be as complicated, but now changing the behavior of employees to also behave the CRM strategy way becomes difficult. The whole cultural change that befits the values and the demands of CRM becomes a huge challenge for you, which you have no choice but to do if you are to succeed in revolutionizing your organization to match the present day market environment. I normally say this is a sink or swim situation. Either you do it or you don't. It's a sink or swim situation. If you don't, you collapse, you close the business, you don't become profitable, you lose out. If you do it, you have high returns. So assess the needs of the organization, come up with a clear definition of CRM strategy, select the CRM solution, the right one, customize and configure your organization, provide training and support your staff, monitor and measure performance, and adapt over the process, over the period. So what we are aiming at is if you come up with a good CRM strategy and align it with your structure, in other words, adapting your structure to the strategy, will easily enable you to achieve loyalty, where you're moving away from transaction to relationship. And the benefit of it is the last step in the ladder, where your customer become advocates. Now, if your customer become advocates, it means your customers will market your business for you. Your customer will tell their friend, you want to buy such and such a product, you want to get such and such a service, go and get it to company XYZ. That's the company that I've always dealt with for the past 20 years. They have never disappointed me. You will never be disappointed. So assuming you've got 1,000 customers and each of them is your advocate, is your ambassador. Now, in a global network that we're in, let's say you have advocates almost in every continent. It implies that you become a force to reckon with. At that particular point, you're actually getting free marketing. Why? Because as advocates, these customers who are advocating your products or service on your behalf will not demand any payment from you. They will not. So you not pay marketing services, marketing fees to them. They will become your ambassadors and market your product, market your services. In the same vein, they also come back and engage in repeat purchase. So you can actually imagine how profitable you can be if you are able to ensure that your customers go through all these stages and become your advocate. Now, I will now bring this whole thing to the African context. You realize that within the African context in general, and also maybe in Malawi per se, you realize that there are some things that if you don't put serious consideration on them, will create what I would consider surprises. Your CRM strategy sometimes might not bring in the outcomes that you expect because you have not contextualized it. Why am I saying this? You must understand that CRM is also influenced by cultural, economic, and technological factors. So what do we find in Africa? In Africa, we find a society that is embedded so much in cultural beliefs, implying that their ability also to be loyal to you will to some extent be influenced by what they believe in. So by not being so sensitive to the culture and sometimes the religion of the people, you may end up losing customers. You may force customers away simply on the basis of failure to be sensitive. You have come up with a very good CRM strategy, but one that is not sensitive to the cultural needs, sensitivity of the culture of the people around. You may find out that your once beautiful and well-crafted CRM strategy now is falling apart simply on the basis that you have not taken into consideration on the element of cultural sensitivity. At the same time, you must understand that the drive towards profitability is not as easy in the African economies, which are very vulnerable to various external shocks. Your once loyal customers would be affected by, in our context here in Malawi, maybe Cyclone Freddy. We had Cyclone Freddy that devastated the most part of the southern part of this country. Water flooding and affecting businesses and livelihood and income of people. Then all of a sudden you have a CRM strategy and you've got your 20% customer, the 80-20 principle, the 20% of the customer that you value most, who have all equally been affected. They come and get supplies from you, but their factory has been washed away. At the same time, they are also being affected by high inflation, inflationary pressure, and the unpredictability of the foreign currency. And this is very common in many, many African countries. And also the other challenge is that the technological backwardness, I may call it, where you may not have the sophistication of technology required for you to have an up and running state-of-the-art CRM model, because you may bring in the machinery, but you may not have the electricity to support it. You may bring in the machinery, but you may not have the network to be able to support it. So if you look at all those factors, then it calls for some special wisdom. In other words, there is a need to craft your CRM to suit the context. Sub-Saharan African markets are diverse and dynamic. They require adapted CRM strategies to effectively resonate with customers. All I'm saying is there is no one-size-fits-for-all strategy. You cannot have one-size-fit strategy of CRM. One that works within the developed economies may not easily work in the developing economies. A simple example would be the ability to track down customer database. With the economies where 90% of transactions are cash-based, it may sometimes be very difficult for you to be able to know customers by name and even be able to understand their pattern and the trend. And yet, despite such kind of environment, you still have an obligation to ensure that you implement your CRM strategy. In many African countries, one thing also that you must understand that you can capitalize on, despite the problems that you may encounter in the CRM strategy, is that such countries, they value interpersonal relationships. And interpersonal relationships are crucial in business interaction, implying that personalized communication, a simple example would be even greeting a customer. Personalized communication, recognizing and respecting the customer, is enough to build a relationship and to accommodate, cultural differences. So you'll see that there's been an integration of cultural practices, technology, economy. Okay, if you look at this, we can create a framework, a 3-point framework: economy, culture, technology coming in but slow, culture changing slowly but still maintaining the old tenets, and then economy volatile. You see, that's a context that you are in. If you are to bring in the CRM, you must understand that you are in a context where you are dealing with people that are inclined more to culture and respect it, cannot easily be swayed and moved by it. And then there is a technology, which is a crucial component of CRM, but then backwardness, and then economy fragile. Yet in such a context, you still need to be able to do business. You still want to be profitable. That's why, and this is the foundation of the topic, where I said building blocks and challenges. The foundation of the topic comes from there. The building blocks and challenges, because then here we want to bring in customer relationship management strategy in Africa. The context may not be as where customer relationship management ideologies were originated. They were originated in developed economies where markets are properly structured, where technology is advanced, where it is easy to, where economies are stable. So you can see that the models can easily produce results without much adaptation. The textbooks, what they provide for, can easily be translated into practice and produce the intended results. But they need to adapt based on the 3 points I mentioned earlier on: instability in the economy, backwardness in technology, and culture preferences. Requires that you now are able to come up with the building blocks. Building blocks. Even in the African markets, the same: cultural, economic, technological factors. That's why we're saying sub-Saharan African markets are diverse and dynamic, requiring adapted CRM strategies to effectively resonate with customers. I can just mention a few challenges: limited internet penetration, linguistic diversity, regulatory variation. These three, only as examples, would create an environment that requires you to come up with CRM that is slightly different than what you'd have elsewhere. So, what then are the building blocks? So then the building blocks, there are so many, but I've opted for 3. They are data management, a building block; customer interaction channels, another building block; personalized and customization, another building block, within the African context. Building block number 1, data management. Though difficult it might be, but still very important. Meticulous management of customer data, encompassing collection, storage, and analysis. We know that infrastructure in data management is still not to the level as to the high level economy, but still you have to do various initiatives. Data infrastructure may still be developing, but you still need to do it. So by adapting agile data management practices, you can overcome limitations associated with the data management. So first building block, data. I provide an example. If you build data, you can consolidate it. HR, marketing, management information system, finance, accounting, and currently business analytics. Very, very important to this extent. Customer interaction. Another building block. Engage in customer across multiple channels, where you start from traditional avenues like face-to-face interaction to digital platforms such as social media and mobile applications. I'm saying this because if you would do CRM, for example, in a developed economy, you would maybe just only focus on digital platforms. But if you ignore traditional avenues like face-to-face in African context, you're also going to miss out, because you are in a situation where you have even within the 80-20 category, the 20 category, you might have those that may also not be very friendly with technology and very skeptical about it. I'll give you an example of how it is becoming very difficult for banks to enable customers embrace digital banking. In as much as digital banking has got many benefits, but still when you come to banks in most African countries, including Malawi, you find banks are still full, banking halls are still full. There is an ATM machine, there's internet banking and various applications that you can do transaction in, but still people want to walk in a bank and stand on an account and cash money and take cash and do a business transaction. Why? The traditional avenues like face-to-face interaction still matter, and they still hold the credibility, and the digital platforms are perceived with suspicion. Perhaps also there could be a cultural influence that might deter people from embracing wholesale digital platforms, implying the need for you to engage in both traditional and modern. So harnessing diverse interaction channels enables business to meet customers at their preferred touch points, fostering seamless engagement and responsiveness. The third building block, personalization and customization. Tailoring interaction to individual preferences and behavior. Very important. Where when you do it, a customer feels very much valued. Now let's look at challenges. Data privacy and security, where you've got infrastructure that are vulnerable and can easily be hacked. You run a challenge. You're building a CRM, but your system can easily be hacked. Sometimes it can collapse, and you need others to come and fix it for you. Data privacy issues becomes a problem. And you may also not have strong regulatory framework that safeguards data privacy. So data of customer can easily be shared anyhow, willy-nilly, without those sharing it getting the consequences. Let's look at we've looked at challenges, data privacy. Yeah, sorry. There's and then there's data privacy, and then integration of technology becomes also another challenge. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, data privacy and integration of technology, where it becomes very, very difficult and complicated to transact. So with such kind of an environment, what would be the way forward? And also, there are also the integration of technology. I mentioned it. Cultural sensitivity and diversity is also another one. Okay, so there are the three that I've mentioned. Data privacy, cultural sensitivity and diversity, and integration with the technology. So on the cultural sensitivity, you'll find that the heterogeneous nature of African markets necessitate a detailed understanding of cultural dynamics and diversity. So business must demonstrate cultural sensitivity in the CRM endeavors, respecting local customs, languages, and custom communication preferences to foster trust and rapport with customers. In integration with technology, you're implementing systems that entails integrating diverse technologies and platforms, presenting logistical and infrastructure challenges in resource-constrained environment. So African businesses must surmount barriers such as limited internet, connectivity, outdated infrastructure to realize full potential of CRM. So these are the challenges, including customers as additionals. Because here, when you bring in the CRM infrastructure, you also need to provide training. Customer service barriers, lack of proper training, insufficient authority to manage requests, inability, etc. So, what are we saying? Having reached this far, let's conclude by saying that effective data management for CRM in African markets is the way to go. Effective data management is crucial, but though difficult, you still have to work hard towards collecting, store, and analyze customer data. You must derive actionable insights and personalizing customer interaction to drive business growth and enhance customer satisfaction. Despite challenges like limited data infrastructure, agile data management practices enable businesses to overcome hurdles and leverage data effectively. So what's the way forward? We must enhance CRM. We must invest in data management and technologies. We must expand internet connectivity. We must enhance data storage capabilities and scalability and compliance. Implement analytic tools. Conduct ongoing training to empower employees in utilizing data effectively. Collaborate with local partners and leverage indigenous knowledge for better understanding of cultural nuances and customer preferences. And continuously evolve data management strategies to stay competitive and deliver exceptional customer experiences in African markets. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. Yeah, for all participants, if you have any question for the speaker, please add them to the chat or you can raise your hand. Okay, for first question, we have question from Mr. Abdullah. I'm a little familiar, sure, CRM is about how company manage relationship with customer, right? I think one of them is supporting technology such as CRM software is marketing strategy also include, and what about data security issue? Sure, is it that include? Thank you. The question already read in room chat.
Yeah, hello. You weren't as audible enough. They were breaking, so I couldn't hear the question properly.
Yeah, for the question already
you're still breaking. You're still breaking.
Huh?
Yes,
Hello?
that's better now. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. For the question, we already read in the room chat share from Mr. Abdul. Is it visible from your side?
What's the question again?
I'm a little familiar about how company manage relationship with customer, right? I think one of them is support technology such as CRM software. Is marketing strategy also include, and what about data security issue? Sure, is that include? Thank you. The question already read in the room chat.
That's the question?
Yeah, the question already read in the room chat, sure.
Oh, it's already read?
Yeah.
They have answered it already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand that the technology becomes a very critical component. But the same technology is what is also slowing down initiatives for CRIM in developing economies. So what would be required is to come up with initiatives that are going to be able to create what I would consider to be a jump, where we jump from where we are, jump 10, 15 steps to catch up with the developed economy counterparts, so that we become probably on the same footing, so that we can now be able to service them. For example, if we provide businesses to the developed economies, we can be able to service them at a pace that they must have good experience because of our ability to enhance technology. But failure to do that, developed economies will continue to struggle to achieve parity with the developed economies on that basis.
Okay, thank you for answering. I think it's very clear answer from Professor. I think we don't have no more question again from student, sure? Yeah. Okay, before I close this event, for all participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another 1, 1, 2, 3. Thank you for your completion. Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to thank you for Mr. Madalitso Elisa Mukiwa for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all participants. At least we have to have more collaboration in the future with DMI, ST John the Baptist University, Malawi. The visiting lecture for today, and here we have to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you for Mr. Madalitso. Yeah,
Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you.
Bye. Betul.